Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.co's. This is our weekend show, isn't it? Our broiler chickens. Did a little bit later today. Actually, we had our inaugural meeting of our TFSA RRSP group today. So I looked down at the clock and it's like, oh, we've been meeting for 2 hours. That's good. So I apologize if it was a little quiet in the lounge. We were all wrapped up talking about penny stocks and bank stocks and the whole like. I think if anything, guys, probably the message that I have for you is now's not the time to be cashing in your portfolio to buy your Lamborghini. I think that's probably the simple message here. I'm a believer in crypto, and really, I don't think there's going to be any change to the crypto story. I really don't. But I think what I see happening here is a lot of extreme market manipulation. I tried to take a good couple $100,000 out of the market in Tether and anti-Bitcoin proxies and gold and stuff like that. And I think to all intents and purposes, that capital is doing perfectly fine. I could very easily see the crypto portfolio, like the altcoins themselves, and Bitcoin's price itself come off a good chunk here, guys. So just, be prepared for that. If you believe in the crypto story, then really nothing changes. And if anything, probably, what I would be expecting is, if you can, and this is the kind of cool part about, new people to the site, especially like level oneers and stuff that have just gone through the program. Hopefully we sort of slowed you down, put your money back in your hip pocket. And my feeling is once the sort of dust settles from wherever they need to take price right now, you're going to be given a buying opportunity of a lifetime here on a lot of these assets. This really feels sort of like, somebody just posted a note there, shaking the weak hands out of the market. This totally feels like it. And what also I think is going to happen here too, is that the public is going to be told to believe that the crypto story is over, or it's all a fraud, or it's all a scam. I could very easily see Jamie Dimon's going to walk around at some point and say, see, I told you it was all a scam, right? If anything, his ego himself, he probably is one of the big guys on the short side on those stupid CBOE contracts. And speaking of which, these reports are still filling themselves out, but I am starting to, it's interesting as these different reports are being produced. I am actually starting to see sort of the way I like to see these reports being produced. This happened to be the crude oil market. What's really interesting about this, really good sort of working model. The simple rule of thumb with regard to commitments to traders reports is that industry wants to remove price risk from their balance sheet. They don't give a shit about what the speculative move up or down in whatever the commodity is that they're in business. They want to get rid of price risk. So if they feel like price is moving up, then they're going to be net short. And you can clearly see that the commercials in the crude oil market right now are about 2-to-1 net short. And then the other side of that, the non-commercials in this particular case, like institutional players, Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, JP Morgan, blah, 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 blah. They facilitate industry's need to remove price risk. So they often take that other side of the trade, and it's obviously a very convenient relationship for them because they're going to be positioned to take advantage of whatever the trend is. So you can clearly see institutions, they're expecting crude oil prices to go up, and industry is expecting crude oil prices to go up. So which way do you think crude oil prices are probably headed? I was hoping everybody would go, gee whiz, sure looks like oil prices are headed up. And I think on balance, that's not a bad conclusion to take from just this general market message. So, hey, Bitcoin's part of the game now. I happened to, this is the Merck, somebody was asking about studying the crude oil. In fact, it was Warwick. We were looking at crude in their level 3 group. So proud of all you guys, man. You're turning into some fucking killer traders. So we were looking at that, but of course, everybody in this community, where's Brian? We're going with all this. Well, you know, what I wanted to show you was obviously the current Bitcoin breakdown. I think actually this is not a bad one. I think this comes in here, doesn't it? Maybe not. I did notice that, no, I don't think this is going to give us something totally different. I tweeted it out this morning. I can't remember what the page is here, but here is that image. Here is Bitcoin. Now, one thing I think we absolutely have to be certain about, and I think is really important, is the simple fact of the matter is there isn't that many contracts out there, right? 5,700 in total. That's not a hell of a lot, right? We say like guys like Roger Ver can ship 5,000 Bitcoins if he feels like it. So there is that element to this. One thing actually that I noticed jumped out of this report is you'll notice there is no commercial participation here, is there? You see that? So I don't think that we can actually really use this as a classic tool for commitments to traders reports, because the whole purpose of the commitments to traders reports is to simply identify where industry is long or short and why. That's like our big benefit. So if commercial is just simply not participating, then, you know, what is there information that we can glean from this? Well, this sort of speaks to what I was saying earlier, is I don't necessarily think that, I mean, you know, we all know what the cost of production of Bitcoin is, right? I don't think that's a rocket science for our community. Price is still substantially higher than that. So when I look at this data, right, hey, remember the crude? We just did it a moment ago. We can clearly see that, you know, traders are taking a pretty heavy net short, almost like 2-to-1 ratio here. So we can clearly see what the Jamie Dimons and the Goldman Sachses and all that, we can see what they're doing here. They are net short. One thing that is kind of handy with the commitments to traders reports, and it's a bit sad, but it's a brutal reality. Usually these guys way over here, the non-reportable positions, guess who they are, right? That's you and I. And the sad part about it is usually these guys are wrong. They're usually on the wrong side of the market. So I do find it interesting that longs actually went more long here and shorts actually went less short here. And you can see this is well over, like, I guess a 3-to-1 long over short. So I still think that the commitments to traders reports are building themselves out. We won't really know this is a super valuable report for us to use until we actually start seeing some people who are actually in the business of doing Bitcoins actually using this. I think in the previous report we showed you, I think we can see anecdotal evidence that, you know, things like GBTC, and there are a few others that are in the business of selling, you know, Bitcoin related securities. They were active, but I don't necessarily see like miners or anything like that sort of even registering on this radar screen yet. And frankly speaking, I got to say, if I was a miner of Bitcoin right now, I would be pleased as punch, just, you know, just raking in the profits. And they're not, I don't even think they're even concerned right at the moment. As we get closer and closer to the cost of production and they have to really start worrying about price risk again, then I think that comes in. Okay, so that's sort of, you know, a little bit higher time frame, bigger picture what I'm seeing. I still don't think, I think that this CME story is still in the sort of buy the rumor, sell the news scenario. And if we actually look at the anecdotal evidence, what I'm seeing is traders are still, you know, like institutional traders are still short side biased here. So, you know, and I'd sort of, you know, been sending tweets and stuff out to that effect here this morning. I'm a little concerned that all of a sudden we've just decided, all right, Bitcoin's bottomed and we go straight up from here. I don't think we're there yet, guys. It sucks. And I had simply said, I thought I had a chart here, but I just simply said, you know, one-day reversals, especially heading into the weekend, that's not usually what bottoms are made of. We need to see, you know, at least get to give us empires, fractals, ideally W's, triangles, heads and shoulders and stuff. That's what bottoms look like. So at the very best, I think what happened is we had the market slammed into a level, and all the day traders, they loved that level, the mountain man level. And they had a lot of fun, and I even had said here in this tweet, mountain man bids did their job. But on that bounce, you got to understand, a guy like Mountain's taking partial profits and then moving stop to scratch on remaining. I got a funny feeling that, the trade off of the Mountain Man tag, I think it may have come and gone, me personally, Brian, remember we sold a whack of Bitcoins up here. I'm actually in the process of buying those Bitcoins back. And I've got a bunch of bids working in here. And frankly speaking, we've got a pretty big fundamental event coming up here that's not really going to change the course of Bitcoin, but it's definitely going to change the sentiment in the market. That is, I think, if I'm not mistaken, on February 6th. It might be next week, but I think it's the 6th. There's sort of like a Senate panel on cryptocurrencies. What are they going to say? I think it's on the 6th, right? Can anybody confirm that for me? So I just can't see a lot of buying into that event window. I don't think we've lost this trend line just yet, but, make no mistake about it. If we start, putting in structure failures here off of this trend line failure, well, that's technically another Ron Jeremy. And look at that. We're right down on the lows again here. It's interesting, too. This is actually a really good anecdote of the power of trend lines. And when you get consolidations at the trend lines, does it kind of make sense, guys? Kind of like what this, do you see how this doji right here, I have these blue lines? The market slammed into this one bar. We put in a cute little doji, and that sort of represented like the market's got a pause, right there. And so AB, pause, CD, do you see how the market stopped right at that level? So what I'm kind of seeing here is we've got this straight line move, right, which happened to be a littler AB equals CD inside it. We have this consolidation, and you can see we're coming right up on these levels now. We could very easily be doing AB consolidation off the trend line, failure CD right into these levels. Totally realistic. Now, like I said, I'm heading out with Liam later on this afternoon. I wouldn't be shocked if I came back later on this evening and saw that, I don't know whether I'm going to get my fills here right away, but I really wouldn't be surprised if we're dipping down into these areas later on today. As well, AB, CD. So now we have two AB equals CDs that are painting this objective. We have the bottom of this channel, right? Very well-defined price channel. Good old 78.6 is sitting there staring us at the face. And interestingly enough, and actually we should see some play off of these lows and this high. But, this is a good example. Look left. If we lose this pivot level, then boom, next big key pivot level is right here, which also corresponds off that high there. So, I don't know what this path is going to look like. Nobody does. But I think on balance, seeing what we're seeing here, I'm not surprised. I'm disappointed. Don't get me wrong. I am long crypto. I want to be long crypto. I love crypto. And if anything, what I'm probably, and as you can clearly see, is I'm going to be a buyer of the coins that I sold up top here. And the irony of it all is you look at this as an altcoin, you go, gee whiz, I can see exactly what's going to happen. It's so obvious. I think probably what happens is we dip down. I don't know if it's straight line or not. We're going to come back. The line in the sand, as always, is going to act as resistance. And then we're going to bottom, and away we go. That to me, almost seems like textbook. We can leave that on. I don't care. It's up to you watching it. But my hunch is probably this is what our future looks like. So, what probably is going to happen here, and of course, this is just purely conjecture on Brian. Chinese and China. Tim, are you in here? Are the Chinese still on holiday? I think they are, right? When do somebody said they don't come back until like middle of February, eh? So I could very easily see dumperoo into this, U.S. panel, Senate, are we going to ban Bitcoin, blah, blah, blah. Then probably counter trend rally, probably to the underside of this. And then finally our dump into whatever the ultimate lows are here. And again, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't get more kickback here. I really would have thought there was going to be more kickback, but the market's going to do whatever the hell the damn market wants to do. If it wants to have a little bit further dump into this reload zone, I mean, you guys know it. You can see all the levels. Everybody just did horizontal support and resistance. So bang. We already got that bang. That bang. You could even do a little bang off of here. Even this wicked indecision bar bang there. You can see we're finally coming down into some support here. So, gee whiz, what a wonderful image. I would say, if we're lucky, things just sort of calm down in here and we don't probe too much lower, and we still have to play with this trend line right now. But as it stands, what I actually saw off the lower time frame, which just kind of sucks. I had a cool chart here. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. Oh, look at that. Son of a bitch. Actually, a good time when we did this video. So this is actually like 2 or 3 setups all rolled into one, which I thought was so cool. The recent sort of tweets and stuff. I had said previously, Bitcoin update, nice bounce off a higher time frame mountain man level, right? We all saw that in glorious Technicolor. Looks like we're stuck in a Roy barbecue ping pong match, right? And that's where I play this funny image, boing, 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 boing. And, coming out of the weekend, there was that 38.2. So let's see what happened, right? Let's fast forward to reality. And you can see how we worked our way up. And look how this top of this this candle right here, this total doji bar, look how it just basically kissed that 38.2. And then it started to fail. Now, this is really cool in that if we put on the 38.2 here, notice how the market actually came down, did not come to 38.2, but then bounced up. So, Roy's barbecue ping pong range kind of idea. This, in my opinion, was actually kind of a bad sign that we didn't come down here. We actually only just tepidly came down, then started to work our way back up. And look how it just rode along this trend line here. So, this is a danger, right? Does it make sense, guys, that taking a short, say, just on the, taking, this double top, hey, Brian, that's an M top, I should short that. Do you see how they just ran the noobs out here and just blasted their stops? I bet there were a lot of people that were like, inverse is head and shoulders, let's go long, right? So, very dangerous place to be thinking about trading. But can you see the very simple Ron Jeremy setup, wait for the trend line break, and then take the first structural signal following the trend line break? Does that make sense? Friday the 16th. Oh, okay. Thank you, Garrett. Awesome. So that's sort of what I thought was happening here. Was and I had thrown this trend line on here right to begin with. It sure seemed to me that the market was playing with this trend line. And if you're a lower time frame trader, there's no reason why you can't trade these trades. It's just sitting here. It's plain as day. Trend line break, structural signal, go 2-to-1 risk reward. And do you see how that just basically was hit? You see that? Do you think it's an accident that the market just hit that fucking 2-to-1 level and is now bouncing violently off that level? Do you think that's an accident? When you see this stuff, you're just like, fuck, this is so cliche. Anyone? I don't know. Maybe I'm just hallucinating. To me, when I see this to me looked like a completely manufactured trade. But what I thought was also cool about this is hopefully you guys can see, and Thomas, he's been talking lots about this recently, and it's a nice simple model anybody can learn. But do you notice how this high here in price corresponds with this high here in MACD? This high here is lower than, or excuse me, this high in price is higher than that high, but the MACD is not higher, i.e., if we move through the middle part of this M, divergence. And it's interesting how that came in here. The key here is you got to let the divergence confirm and then go and hunt your signal. So divergence confirms here. Does it make sense, guys, that at this point, now you go, all right, where's the trade? And you could have, on this, obviously, this rally here, move up. This bar here is slightly lower than this bar, so it moved through these lows. Might have given you a nice little fractal. But I actually like the idea of just simply trading the M off of the following the divergence confirmed. One gentleman that we worked with a while ago, he's still around, he's on Top Step now. I know he would be hunting this empire like a dog, and then the subsequent failure through this trend line again, that's his short entry right there. You can see they pulled a little FU here. So sometimes this does happen where you can see this candle opened up. And yet, if you're going to be trading off of these lower time frames like this, and it's a trader's life, sometimes you get these little fuck yous, right? Where it just goes beep, candle opened up. It just dips down into here to see if the market wants to dump and then just quickly jackknifes away. So, you can see the difference between here where it just dipped down and then jackknifed away. Here you can see beep, it opened up, it had a little bit up and then just lost it. Anyway, if you trade candle patterns, that was a bit tricky in there. But frankly speaking, I think the trade was just simply shorting the M. And what a coincidence, like we said, that El Tangonator setup. And what I love about this, divergence is confirmed. Willie is stupid. M and Willie, right? Just take that first market structure signal that comes 2 to 1, boom. And also, too, this is a really good example of, you can see the trade worked. Trade came back. This is probably where most people are like, oh, fuck it, I'll just take a small profit, walk away. And then they come back a few hours later, and they see that the market moved to their target. I was even, do we have any level 3ers here? Because we just did level 3 class yesterday. And I was even like, we were going through mistake logs and demon finders. And I was talking to them how I used to always make this mistake as a new trader. The market moves in your favor, then it starts moving back. You get chicken shit, dump it at this, so you take this small profit, big fucking deal. And then the market just goes right to your target, and you're just like, oh, Jesus H. Christ. So really good stuff. And, any level 3ers watching, that's exactly what we talked about yesterday, Demon Finder. So, off the lower times, where do we sit right now? We're in a very precarious spot. There's no doubt about that. You see off the higher time frames, we're not bull right now. If anything, we have to be sort of erring on the side of expecting lower prices, but always be open, cognizant, receptive to the idea that, hey, maybe they're going to bring price against key lows, put in divergences, and put in structure, and it turns out this was just the bottom end of a range test. We don't know. I mean, that's what the market's all about, right? You just never know. I think the short trade here through the weekend, I think this is done. I think also, too, and I've seen this happen a lot recently, is we should be cognizant of where these guys went out, on Friday. My hunch is that they're probably just going to bring the market right back exactly where they took it out on the weekend. So Friday, you can see the Chicago boys went out here. right in there. Nice drawing. Oh, here, let's see how I did this here. Notice how basically they came back online. They just hit the reset button. So I think we're probably going to see something along the same lines. And there's no way that Bitcoin's going to dump 1,000, 2,000 bucks, whatever, without the Chicago boys being on board. So my hunch is, you might see some fuckery through this afternoon, but I wouldn't be surprised. Let's just keep an eye on it. I wouldn't be surprised through this Sunday evening, early Monday, we're probably right back at these levels. But get ready for it, guys. Remember we said AB equals CDs off the higher time frame charts. We're vulnerable here. That's probably the way I would describe it. We're vulnerable. Thought this was really interesting. This is I'm keep in mind, guys, I'm always a student of the market. Always, always, always. And you're always learning things. And I really find this triangle here that's developed off of the confluence of a few trend lines here in price and price behavior recently. I found it really interesting how the market seems to be trapped in this triangle. So again, sort of thinking about, where is that? That's the 6th. So the congressional whatever is going to be here. Let's see. I mean, we might get one of these kind of things, right? A real dip right out of here, but at the end of the day, the candle body is right back in the triangle here. But I got a funny feeling the market really loves this level here. So, just as a student of the market, I love when I find these kind of like little triangles and stuff and just see how price likes to obey them. So over the short term, this is kind of what I'm thinking, but I am fully aware and cognizant. You can see 1.618 right here. We could easily have a nice little fuck you dip, just jackknife. Wouldn't that, if we had a nice little dump here down to 5,000-6,000, wouldn't that absolutely just burn the toast of all these recent buy the dip kind of people, right? It just feels like that's almost what needs to happen. And also too, when I look at, it's not necessarily Bitcoin too. When I look at the broader cryptos, I was feeling optimistic the other day. We had these nice, spikes down, and we were getting a lot of, positive sort of finishes to the day. This trend line, the big tail body right in here. I saw this repeatedly right across a lot of these assets, right? You can see all the tails, but none of them, well, actually this one did. I guess Litecoin did yesterday. But most of them, right? You can see the potential empire here, never fired. Potential empire here, never fired. Potential empire here, never fired. And, coins like NEO and Ethereum, these things look like fucking train wrecks. Do you guys see that it's almost like Ethereum right here relative to US dollars? It looks like it's maybe, I don't know, can you guys see? Remember, I was showing you everybody this the other day. It was so cool. And sorry, I'm off on like 20 different directions here. Where's this chart I had? It was so cool. Yeah, stock market. Notice how Bitcoin's put in this top and crapped out. And notice how the stock market is now, look at the top here. Like how the stock market is now acting, almost like straight line down here. I wouldn't be surprised if the stock market goes through a bit of consolidation just like this and then has another leg down just like Bitcoin. And, look at this pattern here, up, down, sideways, breakdown, further meltdown. Gee whiz, we go and look at something like Ethereum. Can you see that same pattern developing? Anyone? Can you see the similarities? It stands out just blatantly to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum has to basically walk its way down. And what's interesting is, through this whole sort of Bitcoin correction, we haven't really heard anybody talk about Ethereum coming down and any pain out of Ethereum land. So I'm just wondering whether, and have I not said that, Alex? I've said that all along. I literally think Bitcoin is now literally the ultimate market leading index. It's like the ultimate leading indicator for our whole society. Isn't that it? What a funny happenstance where we have actually created this thing that's the ultimate leading indicator. So let's see what happens, right? Maybe. Oh, is that chapter 2 of your image, The Empire Strikes Back? I like that. Is that what you have here? Is that sort of chapter 2? This is Mo's chart on Bitcoin and its dialogue. But I like the idea of The Empire Strikes Back. And so what do you think is going to happen in here, right? We got to have the return of the Jedi. And actually what's so cool, it's kind of freaky, is that a lot of the students kind of look at me as Yoda. So I have to go out and find our Jedi. And maybe one of you are what are they? I guess is Jedi, right? Maybe one of you. I could see I could see Kavarkanator. I could see him being a Jedi. Who else? Pick him out. Graham. I could see Graham being a Jedi. Graham, and look at Graham. Graham's totally got the Obi-Wan beard going too, eh? Garrett be total Jedi. I'm just seeing who's here right now. Mr. Mo. What's Mr. Mo's role in all of this? I wonder. Anyway, Rob has turned into a pretty good guy. What do you think, Rob? Have we turned the ship? Remember last summer, Rob would have been buying up here. I think we got to the point where Rob now is buying down here. We changed the record. I mean, I don't mean to pick on you. I'm sorry. I'm not picking on you. But we got lots of aspiring Jedi Knights here. So. Okay, so if anything, guys, this is where PMA for the win, all that kind of conversation is super important. Don't put yourself into a position where either A, you have to pay this month's rent with Bitcoin and profits, because frankly speaking, we're going to be sitting on our hands for a little while here. That shouldn't shock us. Let's maybe finish off today's offering, because as I said, I don't want to be too long because I'm heading off to Liam here soon. If anything, it sucks and nobody likes it, and I totally understand. But these cycle guys, pretty good analysis here. And, if you can sort of mentally prepare yourself, plan yourself ahead of time, all right, this is probably what sort of our path is going to look like for the next little while. Then, if you are, this is where you're really going to ask yourself, why the fuck am I doing this to begin with? If you have the patience and discipline to wait for these bottoms to come in, there's so much fucking money here to be made. It's ridiculous. I mean, we kind of half-assed this with the little old lady approach, and she's doing fantastic. If you really put your nose to the grindstone, like I said, we've made a lot of people extremely wealthy here. But how are you going to look? And where the hell's the damn image? There it is. How are you going to look at this scenario? This is going to really dictate whether you do well at this game going forward in your life or not. Is this oh shit, everything's over and capitalism sucks and it's all a fraud and it's a scam and Jamie Dimon was right? Or are you going to look at this like, holy shit, this stuff's going on sale. I can't believe they're giving it away, and just be in there slowly accumulating when everybody else is crapping their pants. And then, of course, when we do get the hard signs of divergences off the daily charts and structural signals and yada, 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 then we can start, going balls deep. Right now, now's not the time to be balls deep, right? Does that make sense? I hope so. So, just maybe, and, I even put a tweet out today. I even said, now is the time where you're not going to be like squawking about Lambos and shit like that, but now is the time. Right? Not when these things are fucking going straight up and you're ringing the register, but now is the time to do the research and find the coins that you think are going to be winners tomorrow. And what I really like about this Omni coin, number one, I mean, there's just not many coins out. I love that. And of course, technically, hopefully everybody can see Kavarkanators and all that kind of crazy talk. But if I understand a story like Omni correct, they will do really well in a segregated witness type of world. So it doesn't surprise me that there will be just multifold winners down the road. A couple of our site members are fairly intimate in the space, and they're working on projects and doing funding for like actual use case coins. I would strongly suggest you get to know them and chummy up to them, and really, sharpen your fundamental toolkit now when everything's soft. Invest the time now to go find good stories. That's kind of like what we're doing in our RSP group, basically a whole bunch of screener models, and we're meeting on a regular basis to review ideas. I think there's no reason why we shouldn't be doing that in crypto as well. Who's got a half-decent fundamental idea? All right, let's take a look at it. Let's pull it apart. Where is value? All right, and what does the chart say? All right, we've got our value list. We have our value levels, and then we just got to wait for price to come down into them. All right, so, and also too, right, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, oh, the crypto story's over. The crypto story's over. If you're asking Brian's opinion, the crypto story, in my opinion, is just getting started. It's not ending. I do like the fact that crypto is flexible and it is evolving. We may, store of value stories. You look at the gold chart from the 1980s, you look at Bitcoin chart right now, I see a hell of a lot of similarities. Going to be lots of back and forth, but in the interim, there's going to be a lot of, I think I told all of you guys, did anybody participate in that PIVX deal last year? We had guys where Bitcoin was $1,000 and they literally took $100,000 out of the market. Who cares what the fuck Bitcoin's doing? Just on that one deal. So there is tons and tons of money to be made here, guys. But we got to do our homework, right? You got to put the fucking hard work in. So, guys like Payman, we should probably get Payman on Sundays back up and running, talking to us about fundamental ideas. If you have fundamental ideas, please post them in the lounge and let's do some digging. And then let's pull up the chart and let's do some levels, right? But what's really interesting, guys, is if anything, we're going to find out over the next 2 or 3 months who's really in this to win this and who is just a looky-loo. And if anything, in our like sort of core community, everybody that's gone through the school, nobody should be fucking talking rec talk through this. Yeah, accounts are going to be going down a bit. I'm not going to argue that. But usually what ends up happening is they wash out the riffraff, and then very, very quickly, those people that have been positioned, that have been doing their nibbles against 78.6, against, all right, so somebody's already saying OMG, OMG, Omigo, Omisgo, how do you say that? Omis ego? So, and the great part about it is we should have probably a month or two here, guys, to kick around some ideas. And let's really find some, who are going to be the winners for tomorrow. Okay, as I said, I'm heading off to Liam here, so I'm going to basically be out away from the site for the rest of the day. Don't be shocked if there's going to be some play with the Bitcoin price. Know that Brian is bidding against levels down below. So ironically enough, if Bitcoin does dump more, I will be buying more. I'm not in a hurry to be taking any profits here right now whatsoever. And PMA, let's all just make sure we can come back and play the game tomorrow. There's really no hurry here whatsoever, guys. Okay, that's a pretty fun message for you. But like I said, and, Kevin was kind of tongue-in-cheek saying, well, you mean I can't go buy my shitcoins? Hey, if shitcoins are coming down into levels and you're taking appropriate risk, I don't have a problem buy all the shitcoins you want. I know this space, right? When they get back into the stupid mood, all these prices are going to be zooming higher again. And so really the question is, can you actually see that far down the road? A lot of people in trading can't. Can you think about what present you're going to buy Brian for his birthday, May 11th? If anything, my advice to you is probably think about Brian's birthday gift around the time you're going to be thinking about taking profits on the ideas that you're buying now. Not next week. You're sending me some not. Thanks, man. And fuck, we were giving that Brian Kelly guy a real hard time over that stupid knot. I can't believe that guy is actually on a nationally syndicated fucking financial advice station. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense at all. And like we say, you can't write better fiction than reality in this space, eh? Okay, guys, you have yourselves a great afternoon. Where we'll do everything, of course, regular sort of on schedule first thing tomorrow morning with our daily briefs. Take a look at a few of your ideas, and maybe we'll even have Thomas here and give you his picnic basket report. All right, have yourselves a great afternoon, everybody. All the best, and bye for now. Hint, hint, hint. The coin on your screen, Brian likes.